Perched on the tip of a long, narrow peninsula, Sirmione is a medieval town surrounded by gardens, thermal spas, beaches, and the aquamarine water of Lake Garda. To get into town, you will have to walk across a bridge spanning a moat. You are immediately greeted by Scaligero Castle, and a visit here is one of the best things to do in Sirmione. Beyond the castle are narrow streets and alleyways that are a delight to explore. Towards the north end of town, the peninsula is filled with trees and gardens, villas and spas, and on the very tip of the peninsula is Jamaica Beach and the remains of an ancient Roman villa. Scaligero Castle, also called Castello Scaligero di Sirmione, is a fortress that dates back to the 14th century. It is one of Italy's best preserved castles. The castle was originally built by Della Scala family, who ruled in Verona at that time. It was used as a fortification up until First World War, when it underwent a restoration project. It wasn't until 2018 when the restoration project was finally complete. On a visit to Scaligero Castle, you will walk the fort walls and climb the tower for great views over Sirmione. The city center is a maze of narrow streets that is a delight to explore. These streets are filled with cafes, shops, bars and hotels. It takes about 1 hour to walk through the city center, longer depending on how much shopping or dining you do along the way. Located in the historic city center of Sirmione is the Church of Santa Maria Maggiore, who dates back to the 15th century. Just inside, in the portico, is a column with a Roman milestone with a dedication to Emperor Julian the Apostate. The church is home to frescoes and a wooden statue of the Madonna. One of the best things to do in Sirmione is to see it from the water. Taking a cruise around the peninsula is a wonderful way to view the entire peninsula and a great activity for a hot summer day. Cruises typically last about 30 to 45 minutes to circle the peninsula, but you can also combine a cruise with other spots on Lake Garda, turning the excursion into a half or full day activity. Sunset cruises of the Sirmio Peninsula are also quite popular. Jamaica Beach is the tip of the Sirmio Peninsula. This beach is made up of wide, smooth rocks. However, just inland from the rocky shoreline is a sandy beach that sits under cover of the trees. There are lounge chairs and tables here, as well as a few small restaurants. In the 1st century BC, a Roman villa was built on the Sirmio Peninsula, not far from Jamaica Beach. It was occupied for several hundred years and then abandoned. In the 15th century, excavations began, and this site has been the subject of academic research since this time. This archaeological site covers 20,000 square meters, and it takes about an hour to tour the site. Its name now is Grotte de Catulo. Just a short walk from Grotte de Catulo is Sirmione's oldest church. The bell tower dates back to 11th century, and the frescoes on the interior of the church date back to the 12th to 16th centuries. Sirmione is home to many thermal baths. Sulfate-rich waters bubbles up from an underwater spring, and the healing properties of this water provides relief from a wide variety of medical conditions. Some people travel to Sirmione in order to relax in these healing waters. On the far end of the peninsula, there are numerous hotels that have access to a thermal bath. If you don't plan to stay in a hotel with a thermal spa, you can visit Aquaria Thermal Spa, which has indoor and outdoor thermal pools, steam baths and a sauna. The easiest way to get to Sirmione is to drive here. It is also possible to get to Sirmione by bus. Sirmione is closed to traffic in the historic city center unless you are staying in one of the hotels on the peninsula. There is a very large parking lot just south of Castel Scaligero and the city center. There is a small fee to park in this lot. Depending on when you get there, you could get a spot close to the castle or fairly far away, making your walking time up to 10 minutes to get to the city center. Sirmione, with its dramatic setting on the end of a peninsula, its medieval castle and historic city center, is one of the loveliest towns on Lake Garda. It's also one of the most popular towns to visit on the lake. During peak season, expect big crowds, particularly midday. Parking can be a challenge. It's well worth the visit. Just be prepared for crowded city streets if you plan to visit between June and early September. The best way to get around the city is on foot. The city center is a car-free town, so you will have to park outside and walk in. The city is small, flat, and easily walkable and can be explored in just an hour or two. If you plan to visit the sites on the northern end on the Sirmio Peninsula, it is a 15 minutes walk to get there.